12 days of Christmas.
Yes.
Well, the 12 days of Christmas refer to actually the festivities that take place around Christmas. So for the 12 days, and then after the 12 days, you have to go back to normal. That means at Christmas, the festivities have all come to an end. So that is where we are right now. This is the 12th night. It's time to take down the Christmas decorations. Christmas officially comes to an end. Of course, this is all based on religion, our old friend religion. And that's the reason why after 12th night. And this, of course, is the beginning of what they call Epiphany in the Christian religion. Did you know that?
I do now. So you're saying we'll get bad luck if we leave them up? You mean more bad luck? How can we get any more, Mr. Duncan?
We get bad luck normally, whatever happens. Whether we take the Christmas decorations down or not, we still get lots of bad luck.
Very hot in here, you are right. Put too many logs on the fire as usual. He puts too many logs on the fire. He's always stoking it up.
Mr. Steve is telling me off. He's saying that I always put too many logs on the fire.
Well, last year he put so many logs on that the top of the fire was glowing red hot.
In fact, I think I've damaged the fire.
He has damaged the fire. We need a new baffle.
The part of the fire has actually melted because apparently I was putting too many logs on the fire. So now we're
excited about the fire.
Mr. Steve is not very happy.
Yeah, put that in the box for you.
Do you like the star? Look, there are 3 stars here.
Oh, yes. There's that one, and where's the other one?
3 stars.
Oh,
Mr. Steve, the real Christmas star, and also me as well.
The real star, of course, people would say was Jesus. Or baby Jesus, anyway. Well, not that we necessarily are condoning that type of religion, but right.
You're not condoning it.
Well, you know, if you want to do it, fine. Shall I take some tinsel off?
You know what I always say? I always say, live and let live.
Live and let live.
Live
right.
and let live. If someone wants to believe in something, let them. If someone doesn't, let them.
Fine. We didn't pull these crackers. Should we take them till next year?
Can I just say that these are the posh crackers or are they the cheap ones?
I don't know. Let's stick them on the fire and see what happens.
Steve wants to burn these on the fire. I don't think that's a good idea, to be honest. So we won't do that, Steve.
Father Christmas.
We'll put them in the box. Everything is going in the box.
Is there any order to what we're doing
Just stick it in there. Just stick it all in. Don't worry about it.
Okay, right. I'll take these balls off.
Yes, you can handle the balls.
Okay.
There we go, Mr. Steve.
Thank you very much.
I'm sure you can do that.
We need a bag for the balls, really, don't we?
Just put them anywhere.
Okay.
The good thing about these balls is that they're made of plastic, so they don't actually break. They just get squashed. So they don't break, they don't smash, they're not made of glass. So fortunately, you can't break them. We have to say goodbye to the snowman. This snowman has been sitting in my studio during my recent live streams. Goodbye! See you next Christmas!
Oh, I've broken one.
Oh, Steve's broken one. Oh, that's okay, you can fix that.
Oh. The end's come off.
Steve has lost his end. Not for the first time.
There we go. Fix that. I think that's glass, actually.
Okay, we're taking the tinsel off now.
Taking the tinsel off. Would it be easier? Wouldn't it be easier to actually bring the tree out rather than
we will at the moment.
in that way?
Steve is complaining. He says that it would be better if we bring the tree out. Now, we're going to do that in a moment, so don't worry, Steve. Now, 1 or 2 people have asked if I could talk about tinsel. So tinsel is something that's used to decorate Christmas trees, or you can have it hanging up around the room. So this particular thing is called tinsel.
So I'll take that.
No, what are you doing, Steve? Steve, we're taking it off.
Oh, yes, of course.
We're taking
Oh,
it.
all right. Oh, I'm
Steve,
just not thinking straight, am I?
Steve was putting the tinsel back onto the tree. What's going on?
Yes. It's all a bit confusing. I don't know what to do. I'm all confused. What day is it today?
This is Twelfth Night. Oh, by the way, there is a Shakespeare play.
A short one.
A Shakespeare play called Twelfth Night as well, written over 400 years ago. And Twelfth Night is a very unusual Shakespeare play in that it involves a little bit of gender swapping. Did you know that? Yes, Shakespeare was very much ahead of his time.
This is a big bit of tinsel. I mean, this is a big bit of tinsel.
Look at this tinsel. Go and hold that end, Steve. Hold the end of it.
Both hands.
Look at this tinsel. It's
Gigantic.
Look at
like
that.
a giant snake.
Look how long it is.
Huh?
That might be the longest tinsel I've ever seen.
That would look good on stage, that would, wouldn't it? Imagine appearing on stage like that, eh? Anyway, let's put that down there.
I think Mr. Steve has appeared on stage too often. It's gone completely to his head.
Right, it's now completely bare.
Okay, we have to take the lights off. So first of all, we will pull the tree out. Do you remember the last time I did this?
We pushed it in last time.
Now, this time we have to pull it out.
Careful.
Don't worry.
Hope it doesn't fall on the fire.
Yes. I must admit, I'm a little concerned about the heat. I have a strange feeling that the tree is going to melt by the fire. Could you take the plugs? Unplug the tree, Mr. Steve. Unplug the tree.
There we go. I'll hold on to these while you pull it out.
Okay, I will grab hold of it. That's it.
Right.
So now we will take the lights off the tree as well.
It's all a bit tangled up here. Tangled. It's all tangled.
Tangled. That's a great word. Tangled. If something is tangled, it means everything is tied together.
Like this. Here's
It is
an
all-
example.
Tangled.
That's tangled.
I don't think anyone can see that. Okay, let's have a look. Let's take the lights off. The lights are coming off right now. Bye bye lights. Bye bye. See you next year. Actually, I think I'm taking the wrong lights off first. I think I should take these lights off first.
I don't know how you've got it like this, Mr. Duncan. It's all tangled up.
But you know me, sometimes I like to make a mess. It's what I do.
I've done it.
Hooray, Mr. Steve's fixed it.
I've untangled it. Although, that's very odd. There seems to be all sorts of different things going on here.
Actually, this is not easy to do.
Which ones have you got?
I've got the... I'm not sure actually at the moment. I'm not sure what's actually going on here. I seem to have got myself into a tangle bit there. Doing this all too quickly. Oh, by the way, can I say hello to all my new subscribers watching in Egypt? Over the past few days, I've had hundreds of new subscribers watching in Egypt. So a big hello to all my new followers. And of course, today we are heading towards 600,000 subscribers.
600,000, Mr. Duncan?
That's a lot, isn't it?
Is that how many people follow you on a regular basis?
I wish it was.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, it's tangled up again.
Don't worry.
Push it in there.
Push it in all the way. That's it. Round and round we go. I like to think that Steve's helping me, but I'm not sure if he is.
Shall I wind them back on as he's taking them off?
They're certainly winding me up.
Winding you up.
Winding up. If you wind up someone, if you wind them up, it means you irritate them. You get them really angry. You wind them up.
Hurry up. We haven't got all night. I want to have my tea, it's going cold.
Oh, we've got a cup of tea. Yes.
Yes.
Thank you,
This is
Steve.
hard work, we'll need a break after this.
Okay, we're taking the lights off now. So, what you are watching at the moment is a recording. This is Saturday night. It's 12th night, the night when all of the Christmas trees and Christmas decorations have to be taken down.
Over.
They have to be taken down. That's it, you're doing very well there. Almost finished, Mr. Steve.
Not far. There's a lot of lights on this particular string of lights.
Can I let you in on a secret? Now, I'm not saying that Mr. Steve is clumsy, but quite often Mr. Steve can be quite clumsy. It's true.
Oh! That was close.
Were you acting then, Mr. Steve?
There we go. So I'll put these on the fire, shall I?
No, don't put the lights on the fire, no.
Can we reuse these next year?
Yes, put them in the box. In the box. Everything goes in the box.
He's supposed to pack them up neatly, you know.
It's okay. You can't damage these things. They're such good quality, you see.
Right, this is a small one.
Do you want to hear the story about the tree, the Christmas tree? So this Christmas tree, when we originally bought it, we thought it would fit in here, but in fact it's slightly too large for this room. So instead of using the whole tree, we just use part of it. So this tree isn't the full tree, it's just part of the tree. Now the difficulty here is finding the end, but I don't think it really matters, to be honest.
If anyone watched us put the tree up, they'd realise that we put, there's another section to this which we accidentally put the wrong bit on, didn't we? And it made this tree look pretty silly.
We made such a mess of putting this tree up. Did you see the video? We did a live stream, and it was a bit of a disaster, wasn't it, Steve?
It was. It made us look proper fools.
Proper fools. I'm getting into such a mess here with the lights.
It's all right, Mr. Duncan. I'll just go around here. Oh, careful! What are you doing?
What are you doing, Steve?
Oh, I think you're in the wrong place.
I certainly am.
It's all right.
I'm certainly in the wrong place at the wrong time, as they say.
Oh, look, it's all gone limp.
Can you see that? That's how I feel. I don't think we're going to get these off, you know.
We are. I'm going round and round in circles.
Oh, I think you might be doing it the right way. I think I'm doing it the wrong
So
way.
you're winding them back on as I'm winding them off.
That's it. Oh, I see.
Is that what's happening?
They're getting into a right mess here.
The trouble is, you were talking so much. You just completely lost where you were.
I think so. I've got the end. Look, I've got the end here.
Good job. One of us knows what they're doing.
Oh, wait there. Yes, I've got the end. That's the
That's
end.
it.
That's the end. I've got the end, Steve. That's the end.
That's done.
If I keep hold of the end. Oh, is that it?
That's it.
Yeah! We've got the lights off. So the lights now are off. We have removed them. They are now removed from the tree.
There we
Now,
go.
to be honest, I'm not going to worry too much about wrapping them up properly, because what will happen is next Christmas, when I get these down, I will actually unravel them. I will tangle them. So we won't do it now, we'll do it at the end of the year.
Next year.
Well, it won't be next year.
Oh, this year, yeah.
This year. Because it's now 2018.
I'm having some tea.
Oh my goodness, can you believe it? It's like we're living in the future. I remember when I was at school and people used to talk about 2000 and 2001 as if it was really, really far away in the future. And here we are now in 2018. So this is really science fiction now, isn't it? It's like something from a science fiction novel. The only problem is we don't have any flying cars. Well, not yet anyway.
I think this is more like a comedy.
I think so. So, oh, okay, then you've taken that piece.
I've taken that piece off.
So now we have to take the bottom section.
We need to sort of squash them all up a bit, don't we?
Yes.
So,
This can take a while, actually.
yes. Go make yourself a drink.
I think we might edit here. Shall we edit here? Okay.
Right.
That's it.
That in the box.
That's the Christmas tree now packed away. So we now have the Christmas decorations in that box and the Christmas tree in here. We have one more thing to take down. Just here.
Careful.
Ow, I'm so hot. Ow.
I'll give you a hand.
Oh, oh! I think my trousers were about to catch fire then.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Steve. That's great. I think that's all done. In a moment, we will take the Christmas cards down, but you won't see that. We're going to do that after we have finished doing this. So, we are now going back to the studio on Sunday afternoon, where everything is as live can be.
See you.
Doo-ba-doo-ba-doo. What happened? What happened? I was cut off. Did you see what happened there? Thank you very much to British Telecom. Thank you, British Telecom, for cutting me off. They disconnected my internet for a few moments. So can I just apologise to those who were asking, Mr. Duncan, what happened to you? I'm very sorry about that. My internet connection suddenly disconnected. And it's all thanks to British Telecom. Thank you very much for that. At least we are back now. So that was a slight technical problem. It isn't my fault. It is British Telecom. If you want to blame someone, blame them. Thank you very much for that. I don't know how much of that you saw, but Mr. Steve and myself, we were taking down the Christmas decorations on 12th night. But of course, for some people around the world, it is actually Christmas Day today, because they are Orthodox Christians. So I don't want to confuse things anymore, but happy Christmas to those who are celebrating Christmas today. Even though here in the UK, officially, yesterday was the last day of Christmas right here. So it's Mr. Duncan. We are back. Thank you very much for reconnecting me. We had a slight technical problem. Now you know what this means. This now means that there will be two videos connected to today's live stream. So there will be the first 20 minutes and then the rest of the live stream. I don't know how I'm going to sort that out, but I have a feeling that I'm going to have to work very hard to sort that slight problem out. Anyway, we are all here together. It is live. We are coming up to 15 minutes away from 3 o'clock. Let's have a look at the mystery idioms. Now, these are mystery idioms that I showed you about 2 weeks ago. And here they are once again. So these are mystery idioms. They are expressions, well-known expressions in the English language, and you have to guess what they are. Just say what you see. So there is the first one, and there is the second one. But what are they? They are well-known English expressions. But what are they? And there is the first one once again. If you think you know the answer, please let me know. Today we are going to talk about many things. We are also going to talk with Mr. Steve after 3 o'clock, all about keeping fit and healthy. Because of course it is the start of a new year, and many people at the beginning of the year, they like to think that they can make resolutions, make plans for the new year. And one of the plans that many people make, they make the plan to become more healthy. So after 3 o'clock, Mr. Steve will be here with me. Yes, it's true. Mr. Steve will be here after 3 o'clock.
Did it get colder in here, or is it just me?
I think it's just you, Mr. Steve. So there he is. Mr. Steve will be here after 3 o'clock today. Live. Unless, of course, British Telecom decide to cut us off again. It's not very nice. I was just asked to explain the word wind up. Yes, wind up can mean more than one thing. Wind up can mean to tie something round in a very neat way, so you can wind something up. Wind up. It means to roll something or to make something more manageable by winding it neatly. So you wind it up. Of course, you can also wind up your watch. You can wind up your watch. And wind up can also mean to end something. So if you end a meeting, if you end a conversation, if you start to finish what you are doing, you wind up, you close, you prepare to finish. So I hope that helps you. Live chat is up and running. Let's have a look. Lots of people today on the live chat. Thank you, Ahmed. Thank you, Aridas. Thank you, Marie, for saying hello. Is it ear in the mud? No, it isn't. Bella has also made a guess at today's mystery idioms. Luciano is here. Hello, Luciano. Hi, everybody. Hello, Mr. Duncan. How are you today? I'm not too bad, but sadly we had some technical problems today with the live chat. We were cut off. It's true. Also, encroutment or accruitment Eulitas says, I am here as well. It's nice to see you. Nice to see so many people here live. Thank you for staying with me because we had some technical problems. 20 minutes into today's live stream. Unfortunately, the internet connection here was cut off. So thank you very much once again to British Telecom for spoiling my live stream. How dare you? As you know, the name of the game is to teach English. We are now going to take a look at one of my full English lessons. This is an excerpt from Full English number 16. Do you ever find yourself stricken with shyness? Do you ever feel shy? Would you describe yourself as a shy person? It would be fair to say that we all feel a little shy from time to time. There are certain situations where shyness might affect you. Perhaps you are meeting someone for the first time. Even worse, perhaps you are about to meet many people who you don't know. They say that loneliness is a crowded room, and for a shy person, this is very true. We often equate nervousness with being shy. You might not know what to say in certain situations, which can lead to the appearance of being shy. A lack of confidence in certain situations can lead to an attack of shyness. We often position shy alongside awkward in a sentence. A shy person might be described as apprehensive, bashful, coy, retiring, and timid. A shy person might find themselves being accused of being antisocial or standoffish, as their silence can sometimes be misinterpreted as arrogance or conceitedness. I know this because it has happened to me. I can sometimes be quite shy in certain situations, which can lead to some people asking, "What's the deal with your friend Duncan? He won't speak to anyone. He seems a bit arrogant to me." No, I'm not being arrogant or stuck up or conceited. I'm just a little bit shy. That's all. Have you ever taken part in a contest or competition, and after the result or winner has been announced, you feel cheated? You find yourself thinking that perhaps the winner was chosen for a reason. Perhaps you felt that the competition was rigged or fixed. To rig something means to arrange a situation in such a way that the result is assured. To rig something is to cheat and fix a game or contest to go one particular way. For example, in a talent show, the winner might turn out to be a relative of one of the judges. This might lead people to think that the contest was rigged or fixed. In sport, a boxing match can be rigged so as to allow people to place heavy bets on the winner. One of the boxers taking part in the match is paid to take a fall so as to ensure that the other one wins. Almost anything can be rigged or fixed so as to give someone an advantage or a definite chance of winning. The world of English is indeed a fun and exciting place to be, but it can also be confusing for those learning the language. Some English words especially can create confusion and lead to mistakes being made. A good example of this confusion is the similarity between the words momentum and memento. They seem to be related, but in fact they are not. In physics, the word momentum relates to the quantity of motion of an object based on its mass and speed. That is to say, how heavy and how fast it can travel is related to the amount of energy it can create. This energy is classed as potential, which relates to what the object can do. For example, the weight and speed of a rolling rock will give you its potential energy value. The movement is its momentum. The force and thrust created is called impetus. Movement is impetus. Momentum can also relate to the driving force or impetus of a course of events, how one action or event can have an effect on other things. The size of the effect and how long it will last relates to its momentum. The discussion of a controversial topic will gain momentum as more people become involved. The word memento refers to an object that has been kept as a reminder of a past event. A memento is a souvenir. It is something that has been put aside as a treasured possession. A keepsake is a memento. A photograph taken at a special event can be a memento. Something bought during a trip to a particular place is a memento. So as you can see, the words momentum and memento are very different indeed. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed that. That was a segment, some excerpts from one of my full English lessons. They are all available, don't forget, on my YouTube channel. I suppose I should tell you now that all of the playlists are available underneath this video as well. So all of my lessons, the playlists are under this video, and there are lots and lots of English lessons. Besides my full English lessons, there are lots of other general English lessons as well. Don't forget, I've been on here now for over 11 years. It's true. And today, hopefully, later today, we will reach 600,000 subscribers. I'm hoping so. So today, I'm hoping that we will reach 600,000 subscribers. Will you be one of those new subscribers? I know over the past few days I've had lots of new people watching in Egypt. Lots of new subscribers joining me over the past few days. So a big hello and welcome to everyone who has joined my YouTube channel over the past few days watching in Egypt, and of course everywhere else around the world, because now it is 2018 and we are officially in the future. It's like living in a science fiction novel, don't you think? Thank you very much for everyone who has decided to stay with me today. Of course, we had some technical problems earlier. Thank you very much. Ari Das says the quality of the stream is much better now. The quality of your live stream has improved. Thank you very much. I don't know what happened earlier. We had some problems. I've not been watching you for 3 years as I live in London. Now I feel very sorry for the last 3 years. Oh, don't worry about that. Accruitment. Don't worry. At least you are here now. It would appear that your online activity is gaining momentum in 2018. I think so. Thank you for your lovely greetings. So many people today joining me. We did have a slight problem earlier on, unfortunately. So today's live stream is going to be in 2 parts, unfortunately. So we had 20 minutes. And then unfortunately my internet connection was cut off. Very rude. But fortunately it's come back now. Mr. Duncan, why don't you make conversation with your subscribers? Well, that's what I'm doing now. I'm doing that right now. Thanks a lot for your lovely messages today. Thanks for getting involved. We are coming up to 3 o'clock, and of course Mr. Steve will be here today. We're going to ask some questions. Would you describe yourself as a modest person? Modest. The word modest is an interesting word. Modest means to not show off or to be very humble in your attitude towards your own life. So if you are a very modest person, it means you are very humble. So you don't like to boast, you don't like to brag about your achievements, you like to be very
modest. So would you describe yourself as a modest person? Do you know anyone who isn't modest? Do you know someone who is a bit of a show-off? Do you know someone who likes to brag? So yes, to be modest is to be humble, very humble. You don't like to talk about your achievements. I think, between you and me, he's not here yet, but Mr. Steve, I think Mr. Steve is very, very modest. In fact, I think Mr. Steve sometimes is too modest. I really think that. So I think Mr. Steve sometimes he becomes too modest, too worried about appearing to be showing off. But Mr. Steve is a very talented person. He will probably hate me saying that. Mr. Duncan, you are a modest teacher. Thank you, Tias. We are now approaching 599,384 people have subscribed. We are still a long way from 600,000 subscribers, but maybe by the end of today, maybe by the end of this day, I might have over 600,000 subscribers. Thank you very much, and a big hello if you are one of my new subscribers. Lots of things to talk about in the second part of today's live stream. Can I just say once again, I'm very sorry about the slight technical problem we had earlier, but at least we are here now. And guess who else is here now? Can you guess? And the big question this week is, will Mr. Steve sniff? Will Mr. Steve cough? That's the big question that I'm asking today. Will Mr. Steve make some strange noises? We will find out right now, because here he is. It's Mr. Steve.
Hello.
Hello, Mr. Steve.
Hello, Mr. Duncan.
We had some problems earlier.
And hello. Yes, I know. You came running out of the studio and there was a little technical hitch. We had a little break in the internet connection, didn't we?
We had a little fault. There was a fault. Thank you very much to British Telecom once again for destroying my live stream today. I think maybe they have a problem with me. I think so.
Oh, you're getting paranoid, Mr. Duncan.
Yes, they're all out there to get me.
They're all out there to get you.
They're all against me.
If it isn't YouTube, it's now British Telecom.
It's the
Everyone's
government.
out to get you.
It's the government. The government's against me. The world is against me. Everybody is against me.
I think it's those foxes on your desk. I think they're against you. I'd watch out for them.
One of the little foxes. Can you see the foxes there? One of the foxes on my desk just tried to run away. Did you hear that?
They're made of paper, aren't they?
They're lovely, aren't they? These are my little foxes. Mr. Steve bought these for me a couple of years ago. Aren't they lovely? And the reason why I'm mentioning foxes today is because here in the UK they are trying to reintroduce fox hunting. Now, a lot of people don't like the thought of foxes being hunted. So what normally happens is people ride horses with some dogs leading the way, and then the dogs catch the fox and they tear it to pieces. They kill the fox. So for many years this has been a regular sport, although to be honest I don't consider it a sport.
It's for the rich, isn't it? The rich and the wealthy.
A lot of people think that fox hunting is just for the rich and the wealthy. Yes, you're right, Steve.
It is. It's a little a plaything for the rich and the aristocracy and people who can afford to have horses.
That's it.
And but it's still hunting hasn't been banned. It's just the hunting of foxes, which I do agree with, I've got to say. So the horses now follow a scent, don't they? They put some scent onto a big cloth or something like that, and then trail it through the country, and then the hounds follow that instead, and the horses run after the hounds. So the sport is still there, because it employs a lot of people. It's quite a big industry, but they don't actually hunt down a fox and kill it anymore, which I think is civilized.
Although, having said that, there have been reports of fox hunts actually still killing the fox.
Yes.
So this is a very controversial subject at the moment here in the UK.
It is controversial.
But the government at the moment are trying to make sure that fox hunting stays banned. Now, last year, strangely enough, the government here in the UK was trying to push to have fox hunting reintroduced.
Yes.
But now they've changed their mind.
Well, the argument that the fox hunters put up is that foxes are pests. They destroy chickens and farmers' animals and things like that. But to use fox hunting as an excuse for controlling the numbers of foxes is a little far-fetched. Because I don't think fox hunting actually kills that many foxes. So, I mean, they have to be controlled in some way. The population of foxes gets too high. But I think the idea of having a blood sport to do it is not particularly... is a bit distasteful in modern society.
These days, Steve, we have foxes in our town centres. And so certain parts of the UK... if you live in the town, you will see foxes walk around at night. So they are walking around the streets. So not just in the countryside, but also in the neighbourhoods. I remember in Wolverhampton, we lived on a quite large estate, and at night you would see foxes walking around the streets.
Very common, because they've learnt it's much easier to raid people's dustbins for food. Where people throw out a lot of waste food and eat that rather than hunt for little animals in the dark. So it's much easier for them to just raid people's dustbins.
Yeah, I think so. Also because of farming as well. So the way that farming is carried out nowadays. So a lot of foxes are moving towards what they call the conurbations, the areas where there are lots of people living. But it's very interesting.
It's a controversial subject.
It is. Well, sometimes we like to talk about controversial things. But, of course, we have happier things to talk about as well, because it's the new year.
It's the new year.
The new year. Are you enjoying it?
Balloon behind. So far, I've got to say it's a big disappointment.
Really?
But let's hope it picks up during the year.
Well, we're only 7 days into the new year, so who knows, something nice might happen.
It was a shock going back to work. I'd had 10 days off, and as I'm sure a lot of people will sympathise out there, if you had a lot of time off work and then you suddenly go back, it's a bit of a shock to the system. I couldn't remember all my passwords for the various computers and systems and apps that we have at work. I've forgotten all my passwords. How do I use that? Oh, what do I press here? I've forgotten it all.
Oh dear, that doesn't sound very good. Of course, not everyone these days uses technology. Now, this is one of the questions that I'm asking today. First of all, are you modest? Would you describe yourself as a modest person? And another question today, this is an interesting question. Is there anyone you know who has no email or computer? So they have no computer devices, nothing at all, and no email address. They don't use modern communication devices. So do you know anyone? What about you, Steve? Do you know anyone?
I think elderly people tend not to. The older you are, I think the less likelihood that you're going to have used the email. I don't want to mention anyone in particular, but I know people my age certainly who refuse to go on Facebook and refuse to get involved in social media and things like that, which is fair enough. But you will get left behind. I think you've just got to you've got to at least know what it's about, and you're very good at that, Mr. Duncan. You're very good at staying ahead with technology and the latest trends and what's going on. Because I do agree with you, it's very important that you do, because if you don't, you're just going to end up like a lot of elderly people, sort of bewildered and frightened of the world and not understanding what's going on and the changes that are happening, because the world is an ever-changing place. And I remember when I was at school, I can always remember that I can't remember much about school. But I can remember this one teacher coming in. I think we were about 16 at the time, and he was touring around the various schools, and he said, the one thing your generation and every generation from now on will have to find how to cope with and live with is change. And he said, and I remember him saying this, if you don't move with the times, if you don't accept change, you will be left behind, and you'll be living in quite a frightened little world, harking on about the past and how you like what's, when you grew up as a child. It's very dangerous to talk like that, because the world is changing rapidly, more rapidly now than ever, and you have to stay up to date with these changes, or you won't be part of the modern world.
Well, that's it, because things do change. I mean, I'm on the sharp end of everything, because what I do is technology based, and of course technology is always changing from week to week. So I really do have to keep studying every week, finding out what's new in the world of technology. So here on YouTube, for example, things are always changing. They're always making things different on YouTube, always changing things, technology, even the thing you're watching now, the way this live stream works, all of the technology involved in this live stream is always changing, always. So I always have to keep up to date, and it's very easy to get left behind. Very easy.
It is at work. I mean, that keeps me, because I'm that sort of generation who I didn't grow up with computers. You probably did. Computers were coming in when I was a teenager, but they were very basic things. We certainly didn't have mobile phones or social media, but I've had, work has forced me to have to do it, because if you don't keep up to date with things at work, then you'll be out of a job. And it's I don't like change. None of us like change, and I hate it, and I hate new technology and having to learn how to do it. But I'll moan, won't I? I'll moan about it a lot, and then eventually I'll do it.
You definitely moan, Mr. Steve.
I'm definitely one of those people who could go and live on a desert island with nothing. I could definitely go in for that type of way of living. Like Mormons do that, don't they? In America, they shun all technology.
Are you sure I don't think it's
Mormons. No, I'm thinking it. What am I thinking of?
You're thinking of the Amish.
The Amish. That's what I'm thinking of. The Amish communities.
The
yes.
Amish and the Mormons are very different from each other.
Yes. Okay. Let's rewind. The Amish community. That's
Yes.
what I'm thinking of.
By the way, if there's anyone watching in the Amish community, actually, they won't be.
They won't be watching.
We're okay. It doesn't matter, because they don't have computers or electricity, so we're okay.
So I'm going to join an Amish community, I think.
We've really dodged the bullet there.
I don't know whether they have bullets, but that's technology, so they probably don't. It's probably bows and arrows.
It's just a big rock. They just throw rocks around.
Yes. Oh, well, we've talked about something we didn't even intend to talk about, Mr. Duncan.
No, I've almost forgotten about the disastrous first hour.
Look, we're all very sporty today, aren't we? Mr. Duncan said to me, put something sporty on today, because we're talking about health, we're talking about sports, we're talking about New Year, how to get healthy, fit, lose weight, that sort of thing. That's the theme.
Because it's a new year. You know what they say? They say New Year, New You. And of course, at the start of today's live stream, I was in the garden, running around the garden. That was actually me this morning In the freezing cold weather, it was -1 outside. It was frosty, and I was running around the garden doing the introduction to today's live stream.
I haven't got warm all day today. I've been cold all day.
It was freezing.
It's nice and warm in your studio because all the lights are on.
It's very nice in here. Mohammed Churkow says, can you please stop talking and take care of our comments? What do you mean by that? So you want us to stop talking? Well, how can we take care of your comments if we stop talking? That's impossible. It's a paradox.
Does Mohammed want you to read what he's putting on the comments?
Well, I just
screen?
did. I've just read the comment. The comment is, can you please stop talking?
Oh, okay.
Well, how can we answer the questions if we stop talking? That's impossible.
But what's the question?
I don't know. You see, that's the thing. It's like a never-ending circle, a wheel within a wheel.
I think just to try and make people realise, because there's such a lot of people watching, you're literally getting like a comment a second coming through.
I know.
It's very difficult to answer all of them, much as we'd love to.
You know what? I'm the victim of my own success.
But keep writing, keep writing. What you need, what Mr. Duncan needs, is an assistant. Because this is what happens on the radio or television. People are sending in lots of comments. And they have to filter out which ones. They just have to pick a few because you can't. There isn't time to reply to all the comments and suggestions. So you want somebody sitting in the corner. We'll get you an assistant, Mr. Duncan, and they can look at all the comments coming through and then pick out a few ones that sound interesting or would be good, fitting in with what we're doing in the show. So I'm supposed to be your assistant, but I haven't got a screen, so I can't see the comments either.
Well, you're kind of assisting me by the fact that you join me for the second hour. And today, of course, we are talking about health and exercise.
Health.
Because, of course, as I said earlier, the new year, the new you.
New year.
A lot of people try. Is there an echo in here? Hello.
New year, new you. That's actually quite difficult to say. New year, new you.
Oh, sorry, I'm talking. People can only listen to one person at a time.
I'm helping you.
I'm not sure about that.
I wasn't helping you. I'd be in the other room.
Yes. Yes, you weren't much help in there either. How are you, Mr. Duncan and Mr. Steve? My English is getting better thanks to you. Thank you, Christina, for that. We are talking about health and exercise and also idioms and phrases connected with that very subject, aren't we?
Yes, I've got quite a few here. I've got some idioms and phrases connected with health and also body parts as well, if we've got time for that.
Yes, because, of course, it's a very busy show and, as I mentioned earlier, we were disconnected. Thank you very much once again to British Telecom for cutting me off. So this complete live stream is now in 2 parts. So I think that's going to confuse everyone, to be honest. Everyone. Luciano says, I love the conversation. Please keep going. Your topics are amazing. So, would you like to do some health and exercise or body part idioms, Mr. Steve? It's up to you.
Let's do the health ones, shall we? Let's do the health ones. Right. So a lot of people have been. I've got 4, by the way, 4 health-related ones. A lot of people over the Christmas period or the holiday period will have been eating too much, drinking too much, watching too much television, sitting around. So you might be able. Here's a phrase you can use when you say that people are out of condition or out of shape. If you're out of condition or out of shape, you are unfit. You are not in good physical condition. For example, I'm really out of shape. I need to lose weight and take exercise. There we go. So that's the first one. If I could say to you, Mr. Duncan, oh, you're a bit out of shape. Got a bit of a spare tyre around your middle there. You're out of condition. Take some exercise. I won't say that, of course, but I could say that.
I'm glad you didn't say that.
That's just fictitious. I obviously wouldn't say that. Right, here's another one. No comment from Mr. Duncan. Because Mr. Duncan is the complete opposite of that. He is, in fact, as fit as a fiddle.
That's true.
There we go. As fit as a fiddle, which means to be healthy and fit. I feel as fit as a fiddle today. It means you're full of life, energy, you feel good, mentally, physically, everything. Actually, interestingly enough, do you know where that phrase comes from? Fit as a fiddle.
Fit as a fiddle. I have a feeling you're going to tell me.
I looked it up because I thought, what does that mean, fit as a fiddle? Apparently, it means fit for purpose. It's a very ancient saying, going back hundreds of years, where a fiddle is another word for a violin, isn't it? And they used to say that fiddle is fit for purpose, or something along those lines. So it means something fit for purpose. So your body is fit for purpose, i.e. it works well. It's in good condition. Fit as a fiddle. That's very commonly used, is it not, Mr. Duncan?
Yes, in fact, I used it today at the start of the live stream in the garden when I was reading out my little poem.
You might go to the doctor and for a health checkup, and he says you're in very good condition. You're as fit as a fiddle.
That's nice. So the word fiddle, actually fiddle, can also have a very negative meaning as well. To fiddle means to cheat or to steal money in secret. So you take money, or maybe you trick someone into thinking something that isn't true, normally involving the stealing of money. Fiddling people out of money. Diddling them, doing them out of money, stealing in some way. But in this context, it means fit for purpose, healthy and fit. I'm as fit as a fiddle. There we go. But of course, if I wasn't feeling very well, I was feeling a bit under the weather. Oh, there's another one. Right, okay. If I wasn't feeling very well, I might say that I was out of sorts. Okay.
Out of sorts. Or you might say under the weather. Out of sorts, which means not feeling well or in a bad mood, not feeling yourself. Oh, I'm a bit out of sorts today. I don't feel myself. I think I've got flu coming on. I feel all out of sorts. You worry too much. I think you're out of sorts.
So you don't feel right. You don't know exactly what's wrong with you.
What is it? You just don't feel right. You're just out of sorts.
So you know something is wrong, but you can't identify it.
And it might not be physical. You might not feel. It might be mental. You might be worrying about something, or you feel as though something's just not right. You know, you don't feel connected. You don't feel sort of in the right place. You sort of, I'm all out of sorts. And maybe you just need to go and lie down, and then you'll feel better. I'm out of sorts.
Apparently, Alamgir says, I always use YouTube to help me to exercise. There is a very good YouTube channel that encourages people to keep fit.
Fantastic.
So YouTube is not just helping you with your English via my channel, but also you are keeping fit on YouTube. Well, after all, YouTube is a very useful thing indeed. I think so. Do you have another?
I do. Perhaps we could start our own fitness channel.
Another fitness idiom.
Perhaps we could start. Yes, I've got one more here. Right. How about this one? Take a sickie. Take a sickie.
Now, first of all, I have a feeling that this is a British colloquialism.
I'm not sure. I don't know whether they use it in America. I don't know.
I don't think they use this in the United States. I have a strange feeling down my left leg that is a British expression.
Take a sickie. It means take a day off work by falsely claiming to be ill. John has a reputation for taking a sickie on Fridays.
So you you take a sickie. So you pretend to be unwell to get an extra day off work.
Yes, or you phone up and say, I'm really feeling ill today. I think I've got a flu coming. I'm not going to come in today. You make it up.
Steve, I hope that's not the voice you use, because that is not convincing. This is.
I'm not feeling very well today. I think I've got a cold coming.
Let me have a go. Hello. I'm not feeling very well today. I've got a cold and diarrhea and vomiting and one of my legs has fallen off.
Marks out of 10.
Was that good? Was that convincing?
I couldn't see it. Yes, take a sickie. It means, that's it. Because quite often you might, for example, it's Friday, or even if it's a Monday, your bosses at work get very suspicious if you keep taking Fridays and Mondays off sick, because they know if it's Friday, you're going off to visit some friends somewhere for the weekend, and if you take Monday off all the time, it means you're still hungover from the weekend of drinking.
Yes.
So
because some people
take a sickie.
Some people like to have a long weekend. So yes, that's
do.
right. They either take the Friday off or they take the Monday off, and you are right there. Yes. But Mr. Steve, do you ever take a sickie, Mr. Steve?
No, I don't. And the reason is I'd feel guilty about it, for one thing. And also, I know that workplaces now, if for example, I mean, this has happened in the company I work for, that they've got to make some redundancies because there's too many, the company's not doing so well maybe, or they just need to cut the staff. And what they do now is that you have to be seen to be doing this above board, so you've got to be doing it in the right way. So they draw up a series of criteria and mark everybody on that, and then the people that come out the lowest lose their jobs. And one of the criteria that they put into that is how many sick days you've taken on Mondays and Fridays.
Before you continue, what do you mean by criteria?
Criteria, like a selection, a parameter, a way. I can't explain it properly. Criteria, just a list of things.
Yes,
things that are measurable.
The criteria can often be things that are required or things that are observed as a way of coming to a conclusion. So the criteria. So you often group things that are connected to one particular thing, or the things that you are listing. So the criteria.
Yes. So the criteria for judging if somebody is to be made redundant or not, they might, for example, look at their performance. That would be one criteria. They would look at their sick days. That would be another criteria. They would look at HR issues, to see if they've punched anybody at work. Or
HR is human resources.
Human resources, yes.
Human resources.
So one of the criteria I know that they use to measure is how many Mondays and Fridays you've taken off sick.
Yes.
And if it's over a certain number, then you get a minus point for that.
I'm going to be honest. I think in the past, many years ago, I would occasionally phone work and say that I felt unwell, but actually I wasn't. I just didn't want to go to work.
I think we've all done. I know I've done it in the past, but I don't tend to do it now. And the other thing is, people can get caught out. In fact, I used to work in a hospital years ago, and there was a culture there of you got your normal, say, 20 days holiday.
Okay.
But if you took up to 10 sick days off a year, there would be no questions asked. So you can see what's coming next. What people used to do at work is they used to say, well, I've only had 5 sick days off this. I can take another 5 by the end of the year. So what they would do is they would just take the sick days off. And it was like a culture. It was something that everybody did. And I remember once bumping into somebody at work and I was actually on holiday, and they were with their children in a restaurant. I think it was McDonald's. I think.
Okay.
All having a burger, and I said, "Oh, hello, how are you?" Blah blah blah. Blah. You on? I said, "Oh, are you on holiday?" He said, "No, I'm just taking my sick days." So, because they could take up to 10 a year, if you took more than 10, people say, "Oh, why have you taken 12 days off?" You know, 10's all right, but not 12. And even the bosses would do it. They'd all just towards the end of the year, they'd all go off. They'd take 5 days off because they'd only taken 5 off. They it was holidays as far as they were concerned.
Yes, I think we all get what you mean now, Steve.
They were entitled to it. It used to make me laugh.
So suffice it to say, let's just compress everything down that you've just said for the last 4 minutes.
Yes.
People treat their sick days that they are allowed to have as holiday.
Yes.
So they think that they have their normal holiday, which they are allowed to take, but then they have sick days that they can take, but they treat them also like holiday.
That's very common in public sector work. So if you work for the government or the NHS, it's very common for people to do that. I've got to be careful what I say here. Whereas if you work in industry, if you work in the private sector, then they're much more strict about looking at your sick days, and you'll get into trouble for it. But I mean, I've got a friend that works for the civil service, which is a government job, and he takes a sick day off at least one every 2 weeks, a couple a month at least.
I feel as if I have a sick day coming on now.
You can't have a sick day. It's your own business. That's it. You can't. You can never be sick. Even if on a Sunday when you're doing your live lessons, even if you've got the flu, you'd have to be here.
We have a special hello coming up. Cecilia. Hello, Cecilia. Mr. Duncan, please say hello to my mother, Angie, and my sister, Anna. We are in Argentina. We are cooking together.
Wow.
And watching you.
Fantastic.
So, can I say a big hello to Cecilia and also Angie?
Cecilia and Angie, hello.
And also your sister Anna. And apparently they are all cooking.
What? What are you cooking? We want to know. I bet it's delicious, whatever it is.
Is it something nice?
What are you cooking? We want to know.
We really do want to know what you're cooking, so please tell us. Andrew says we get our salaries by cash. Therefore, on the day when the salary arrives, nobody ever gets sick. Oh, yes. I'm sure. Yes, no one ever gets ill on the day when they receive their wages. I think so. Isn't that strange?
Yes. Or if there's a Christmas office party, everyone goes to that.
So, do you have some body part idioms for us?
I do indeed, yes. I've got quite a few here.
That's okay. Well, you just keep reading them until I say stop.
Right, here we go. Let's kick off with see eye to eye.
Ooh.
See eye to eye. That means you share the same opinions or agree on something. For example, my husband and I see eye to eye on most things, which means that they agree on most things. But another way of putting that would be, my friend and I are always arguing at the moment. We just don't see eye to eye over her boyfriend. See eye to eye. It means you agree.
So if you do see eye to eye, you often mutually agree on things.
Yes. So, for example, Mr. Duncan, we see eye to eye on most things. We agree on most things, do we not, Mr. Duncan? But on some things, for example, I can't think of any right now, we might not see eye to eye. For example, on how many logs to put on the fire at any one time.
What a strange example.
I know, it is a strange example.
That might be the worst. That might be the worst example of anything I've ever heard in my life. A good example would be earlier. Some people were disagreeing with me about my views on fox hunting.
Ah, right.
So it would appear that we and some of my viewers do not see eye to eye. So maybe we do not see eye to eye. So we agree, don't we, Steve?
Yes,
we
on that
don't like fox hunting.
particular issue.
But some people watching today think that fox hunting is required and necessary, and it is needed.
Well, see, they say that. They use it to justify controlling the fox population, but there are far more humane ways to control foxes than hunting them with dogs and tearing them to pieces. I'm sorry, I've said it. But we beg to differ.
Oh, wait there a second, Steve. I've just thought, yes, one of the things also, of course, one of the myths is that foxes spread rabies. Now, we don't have rabies here in the UK, do we, Steve?
No, we don't. We're rabies free. I think it's virtually the only country in the world that is rabies free.
So we don't actually have rabies here in the UK. So that reason for hunting foxes is invalid. Invalid. It is not true or real.
They used to. Do you remember that there used to be there was a program in the 70s, quite a drama series.
Quite a drama, was it?
It was a drama where society had broken down, and foxes were spreading rabies. I'm sure that's what it. I'm sure wasn't there a program in the 70s about foxes spreading rabies? There was, definitely, because
Okay.
I think in the 70s there was a danger that rabies was going to be reintroduced into the UK, and they were blaming foxes. Of course, dogs, cats, everybody catches all animals get rabies.
But not in the UK.
Not in the UK.
Yes.
So when British people go abroad on holiday,
Yeah.
they go up to all the dogs and the cats.
Do they?
And all because we're a dog-loving country.
Wait there, Steve. They go up to all of them.
Yeah, well, it's a way of speaking. British people have got this love of animals. They've got no real fear of animals because we've got no dangerous animals in this country, really. There's no rabies. So when people go abroad and a dog comes up to them in the street or a cat, they'll go and stroke it. But of course, it could be full of rabies.
Well, dogs can be dangerous.
Yes, I know, particularly if they've got rabies.
Yes, or if it's a big dog with very sharp teeth and it's not in a very good mood.
No, I'm talking about diseases, and I'm talking about rabies in particular.
Now I understand. What is rabies? Oh, some people are asking what rabies is. Well, can I quickly say it is a disease that's transmitted by animals, normally through a bite. Would I be right there, Steve?
You are correct. It's a nasty disease spread by the bite of animal. Any animal can carry. Any furry animal can. Even bats have got it as well.
Bats.
And once you get bitten, the disease takes a long time to come on, so it can take weeks or months, even years sometimes, for the disease to actually show itself, by which time it's too late. You're going to die. It's 100% fatality.
Oh dear.
With rabies. It's that one where you're foaming at the mouth, and strapped. You've seen pictures of people strapped to beds, and all your nerves are infected with this virus, and you start foaming at the mouth. It's a horrible way to die. You don't want rabies.
So all of this white foam comes out of your mouth, and you shake, you convulse. It's not a very nice way to go.
Kills tens of thousands of people around the world every year.
But of course, there is a vaccine you can take, and also here in the UK, we are completely safe from rabies.
We are.
So for those asking what rabies is, now you know. Jordow asks, Mr. Duncan, you said you will take your Christmas tree down, but what about the lights in your studio?
I've still got them. Look.
Well, to be honest, my studio always has lights, always. So these lights you can see here behind me are not Christmas lights. They are my normal studio lights on the set. And of course, Mr. Steve has some lights as well.
Yes, I think these have got to go, Mr. Duncan.
No, those aren't. Those are just set lights. Those are lights for my studio to make.
But they weren't there before Christmas.
Yes, but they are there now.
You see, we're not seeing eye to eye on this, Mr. Duncan.
No, we are falling out.
We are falling out on this one.
Shall we have another body part idiom?
How about this one? Elbow grease.
Oh.
Elbow grease. That means to do some hard work. With your hands, normally. If you want to make that table look smooth, you're going to have to use some elbow grease. It just means a bit of hard work. Your elbows are going. Hard work. Polishing, sanding something. Use some elbow grease.
It's a bit like Mr. Steve when he's cleaning the car. He has to clean the car. You have to put a lot of elbow grease.
It's when you're using your arms and your hands for something. I remember when I was at school years ago, I was made to look the complete fool. I was in woodwork class.
Okay.
And we were sanding some wood down with some sandpaper.
Okay.
And the teacher came up to me and said, put some elbow grease into that. And I'd never heard that expression before.
Oh, no.
So about 10 minutes later, I went up to him and said, I can't remember his name.
Oh.
Have you got some elbow grease, sir? And he burst out laughing and told the whole class, and I was made to look a complete fool because elbow grease isn't grease. You know, that grease is something that's slippery and makes everything
I know.
smooth and
We know you've just explained it to us, Steve. You've just you've explained that to us.
I don't know how far to go with my explanations. So I thought this was a real thing, a jar with elbow grease written on it. And I've remembered that because you always remember being mocked and made a fool of by your teacher in front of the rest of the class. You always remember those incidents.
All I can say is I'm glad you didn't hear the expression "cut your nose off" to spite your face, because you might have got the scissors and tried to cut your nose off.
Anyway, I had to take that one on the chin.
Oh.
Take it on the chin.
Okay.
What does that mean? That means be brave when something bad happens. That's probably usually your fault. Just accept something when it happens to you. It's too late to change it. There's no way to change it. Just take it on the chin. There we go. Here's an example. Oh, I've crashed my friend's car. He's going to be furious. I'm just going to have to tell him, and take it on the chin.
Take your punishment.
Take your punishment. In other words, you're going to tell your friend you crashed a car. He's going to punch you in the face. But that doesn't mean literally that's going to happen, but that's where it comes from. So something's happened, it's bad, it's your fault. You've got to own up to it, accept it, take it on the chin.
Although it might happen, he might actually punch you in the face.
He might actually, but it's sort of metaphorical, if that's the right phrase to use.
We're going to take a break for a moment because there is a lesson.
I've just got into my stride.
There is a lesson on my YouTube channel all about health and exercise, and now we are going to take a look at some excerpts from that very lesson. Hi everybody, this is Mr. Duncan in England. How are you today? Are you okay? I hope so. Are you happy? I hope so. In today's lesson we will take a look at two aspects of our lives. One is something we take for granted while it is there, but miss it terribly when it has gone. The other is an activity that we are all encouraged to do, but few of us seem to have the time to carry out. In this lesson, we will take a look at health and exercise. When we talk about our health, we are actually describing two things. First, we refer to our physical health, the way our body is functioning, how well it is working, how all the different parts of your body are functioning. Then we refer to our mental health, how each one of us feels emotionally. If you feel tired after any sudden activity, such as getting up from the sofa and walking a short distance, or feeling out of breath after climbing a few stairs, then there is a good chance that you are out of shape. You are unfit. Your health is poor. There are many words connected to exercise, such as aerobics, exercise that makes the heart beat fast through constant body movement. We call this cardiovascular exercise. Burn. This word is used to express the energy being used up during exercise. Recreation. A general word for any exercise or leisure activity. Keep fit. The act of taking exercise or following a course of exercise routine. There are many simple exercises for keeping fit and healthy. The most popular ones include walking. Yes, just go for a walk. Walk to the end of your street, then around the corner, across the field, up the hill and back down again. Walk in a big circle around the streets and along the roads. Keep on walking until you arrive back home. Oh, you can also jog. Jogging is quicker than walking, but not as fast as running. You can jog to the end of your street, then around the corner, across the field, up the hill, and back down again. Jog in a big circle around the streets and along the roads. Keep on jogging until you arrive back home. Or you can go for a run. 1, 2, 3. Oh, dear. Oh, it's okay, I'm just exercising my word power. Please yourself. Believe it or not, it is possible to exercise too much. You can do too much exercise. There are many sporting activities that can give you a vigorous workout and help keep you fit, such as badminton, football, squash, tennis, and volleyball. Another great activity is swimming, which is good for giving you a relaxing all-over body workout as you float in the water, without all that tiring muscle strain. That's better. Adooby-doo! Here we are with just another 15 minutes to go. Just 15 minutes left, and then we have to say goodbye. For those who are watching this after the live stream, can I just tell you that today's live stream is in 2 parts because we had a technical problem. So if you are watching this later on the replay, this particular live stream is in 2 parts because we did have a slight problem with the internet connection. These are today's mystery idioms. I will give you the answers today, and here is the second one. They are well-known expressions in English. All you have to tell me is what they are. And there is the first one once again. And of course, Mr. Steve is with me today. And it looks as if he's in the corner of the studio doing some exercises. Oh, look at that. You are so strong, Mr. Steve.
Yes, I was just watching you there. I thought I'd just catch up on a few of my, my daily routine. Just throwing up my pecs.
I've just noticed. Oh, thanks.
Yes, you can use this in various ways. Just toning up my muscles. Oh, yes.
It looks like you're firing a bow and arrow.
Yes. This is a good one for your stomach. Oh, yes, that gets your stomach going.
Now that looks like you're doing something very rude.
Does it?
It looks really rude.
Back of the head. There we go. Oh,
Mr.
yes.
Steve.
Ooh.
Mr. Steve, please stop doing that.
Well, that's me done for the day.
You're starting to scare me.
I've had this since I was 18.
And that was the last time you used it.
I was exhausted now after all that. Anyway.
Mr. Steve is desperately trying to develop his biceps and
Yes.
triceps. They are the muscles in your arm. What the thing you did just with that apparatus looked very rude, by the way. I might save that as a GIF because it looked brilliant. It looked so rude.
I've had that for years. It's brilliant. You don't have to go to a gym, just buy one of those. You keep it for 30 years.
But you do have to use it.
I do use it, as well you know. And my pecs are a testament to my dedication to keeping fit.
Okay, then that's what we're talking about today. You just saw an excerpt from one of my lessons, in fact. There is a lesson all about keeping fit and exercise, and it is available on my YouTube channel. If you want to watch it, you can. No problem. So, Mr. Steve, you want to talk about health and exercise because I think it would be fair to say that you are very keen on keeping fit.
Yes, I've always tried throughout my life to maintain a healthy weight and take exercise and things like that. Yes, I do. And of course, every year at this time of the year, after Christmas, everybody starts to think about getting fit. They all start joining gyms, don't they? And spending money on a year's contract to join a gym. They'll probably go for 3 months and then stop doing it altogether. Gyms are they like to recruit people at this time of the year because they know full well that half the people that join will go for about 2 months and then give it up, but they'll have to pay for it for the rest of the year. So they make a lot of money out of people not going to the gym. But you don't need to join a gym. You don't need to do that. You can just go for a walk. And losing weight, now this is a very controversial subject. Well, sort of. People like to lose weight. It's very simple, all this. Don't overcomplicate it. There's all these programs about how to lose weight and joining a gym, special diets. It's actually quite simple. If you take more energy in than you're using up, you'll put on weight. It's as simple as that. We all know what to do, but we don't all like to actually make the effort to do it. So people put on weight, don't they, over a long period of time. You don't see people putting on a stone in a month. It happens over a year or over 2 years, and then suddenly you find yourself a couple of stone overweight, but that's happened slowly. So it's best if you want to lose weight, and that's because you've only probably been eating an extra 200 or 300 calories a day, but over a long period of time, that results in you putting on weight. And what do people do? They go out and buy a new pair of trousers because the other one's got a bit tight, and then that feels all right, and so they get used to that. Wait another year, then they are a bit tighter, so they go and buy bigger trousers, and then they get used to that. No, stop when it gets tight and do something about it. That's what I say.
Steve?
Yes?
Here is something that I've always wondered. Now, I don't want to seem insensitive, but I always wonder when you see someone who is very fat. I always wonder at what point did they realise they were getting fat? So at what point, when they pulled their trousers up or tried to fasten the belt on their trousers, at what point did they think, you know what, I think I'm getting a little bit fat?
But yes, it's very difficult. It's very difficult. But it's not difficult to lose weight. All you've got to do But we're not a health fitness channel, are we? If anyone's watching.
Well, no, we're just talking from our own experience because
Yeah.
because I'm pretty slim and you're very slim. In fact, I think you are more into health fads
I'm a bit obsessed with all that.
than I am. So I like exercise. I sometimes eat unhealthily, but most of the time I try to control the amount that I eat. But of course, at Christmas, everyone always eats too much. But I'm just wondering how you get from being slim to fat.
It happens over a long period of time, and because it's over a long period of time, years usually, you get used to each stage. It's like getting older. It happens so slowly that you don't notice the sudden change. Because say you put on a stone over 2 years,
Okay.
you don't notice those small little changes. You get used to it, and before you know it, it's gone too far. And the secret is, all you've got to do is tip the balance the other way. You've got to eat less, so you're taking in less calories, and take a bit more exercise to use more calories up. But you don't have to go to the extremes. Just, have a couple of less chocolate biscuits a day and then go for a walk for an extra 10 or 15 minutes.
Yes.
And then if you tip the balance the other way, you will then start to gradually lose that weight
Oh.
over a long period of time. That's all you've got to do.
Let's just
Forget
have a look
the
at.
crash diets.
Okay, Steve, I've got to put the brakes on slightly. Let's have a look at the live chat very quickly. One or two people are talking about this now because it seems to have got a lot of people interested. Manila, someone watching in Manila says, I am an instructor and it is important to do exercises for the body and the mind for many aspects.
Yes.
Yes,
very
of course,
true.
it can help your health overall, and certain diseases, of course, can be kept away. Not completely, but of course, health and exercise has also been linked to helping prevent certain types of cancer. Would that be fair to say, Steve?
They now realise that exercise, even a small amount of exercise, I'm no expert in this, but I do read a lot about it, even just 10 minutes a day exercise is enough to prevent a lot of major diseases like diabetes, a lot of cancers. It makes a huge difference. They're now saying that exercise, just 10 minutes a day, is more powerful than the most powerful medicines that we have at our disposal. And that if you just do something like that, it's going to make major differences to your health down the road. Exercise is important. A lot of people need it's very difficult sometimes on your own to make these changes, so it's sometimes a good idea to join groups and get support from groups and go to an instructor and join a group of people, and there's a social element to that as well. But the danger is the crash diets of people trying to lose a stone in a few weeks. That's what's dangerous.
Yes, dieting. If you try to lose too much weight or a lot of weight in a short period of time, we call it crash diet.
Crash dieting, and it puts your body into a stress mode. It thinks it's starving, and you can't keep these sort of things up for long. But you can make small little changes here and there. So you can just maybe walk a bit further. If you go by bus or train, just walk a bit further, and maybe stop buying biscuits. Because if they're in the house, you'll eat them. If you don't buy them, you can't eat them.
You're almost sounding as if you're lecturing there. And
I know, I don't mean to lecture, but you can make small changes. Go to bed half an hour earlier.
Look, we had this conversation last week or the week before. We had the conversation before about everything in moderation. So this is something I know I'm repeating myself slightly, but I don't want to. But of course, everything in moderation, a small amount of this and a small amount of that, and some exercise, a pretty good recipe for keeping yourself fit and healthy.
Definitely.
And of course, you can go to the doctors as well if you are lucky enough to have free treatment, or maybe you have some sort of plan with your local doctor. You can go along and have physical checks as well, which I always think is a very good idea, especially for people of a certain age.
Yes, if you haven't done any exercise for years and then you suddenly want to do it, it's probably a good idea to get a checkup before you do it.
I'm pointing at me and I'm pointing at Mr. Steve, and the reason is because we are of a certain age, and of course at certain ages you are more susceptible, you are more likely to get something that's pretty nasty or horrible. So yes, I think regular health checks are also very important. And of course, going to the doctor before you do any exercise, and that's another important thing. So if you are thinking of doing some exercise, always make sure that you are able to do it by visiting the doctor as well. So don't forget to do that, because it's very important.
I think you're all right going for a walk.
I think so. Do you know, Mr. Steve, there are lots of uses of the word work. Are you aware of that?
Okay.
There are lots of ways of using the word work. First of all, you can work it out. Have you heard of that expression?
Work it out. Yes, to try and find a solution.
Yes, a solution maybe to a problem. If there is a problem or something that's bothering you, or maybe you have a disagreement with someone, you can try to work it out. You try to solve the difficulty. You try to work out
an argument over something, a difference of opinion.
You can also work something over as well.
Work something over.
Work something over. If you work something over, it means you do something to another person. You might work them over. You might attack them.
Beat them up.
Beat them up. Yes, you work them over. Oh dear, I don't like the sound of that one. And also work can also mean function. So if something is operating or it's working normally, we can say that it does work. It functions.
For example, the internet was not working earlier. Now it is.
Yes, it's completely the opposite. The opposite of work, of course, is break. So something that isn't working or isn't functioning has broken. And so earlier, my internet decided to break or break down. It stopped working. Also, you can work in something. If you work in, you mix things together. You might work in one thing into another thing. You work it in. Work in.
Yes, you might. If you're making cakes, you might. If you're mixing the butter with the flour, you're working it in, aren't you? You're working the two together.
That is true.
Or making cement.
And then there is, of course, work up. Work up. If you work up, it means you are building up to something. You are creating tension by getting people prepared for something that's going to happen. So you might work up to something, or you might work up the crowd. You get them very excited. Work up. And of course, work out means to solve as well. So solve, or of course, talking of health and exercise, work out.
Work out
can mean to actually do exercises to keep yourself fit. You work out. I like it.
And if you work very hard to the point of exhaustion, you can say that you've worked your fingers to the bone.
Yes. So there are many ways of using the word work. And of course, work in its most general form can mean a task, to do something, your work. You do something, maybe you work in the garden or work in the laboratory, or like Mr. Steve and myself, we work here every single Sunday, and you can catch us every Sunday from 2 p.m. UK time. It's almost time for us to go. Can you believe it, Mr. Steve?
I've only used up a few of my body idioms.
Okay, well, because we had a problem earlier, I'm going to be very generous and I'm going to stay a little bit longer.
Oh.
So, I think we've got time for 2 more.
Okay, then.
2 more of
Which shall I choose?
2 more of your body part idioms.
Oh, here's a good one. Right. Get something off your chest.
Ooh.
Get something off your chest. That means to tell somebody about pent-up feelings, problems, secrets or worries. You get something off your chest that you've been worried about, that's been, deep down there, you haven't told anyone. For example, I told her I was leaving. I was glad to get it off my chest. Thanks for listening to me telling you about my problems at work. It feels good to get it off my chest. So you've got maybe a confession to make, something you've kept secret, or something you worried about that you haven't talked about. You suddenly talk about it with someone, you get it off your chest.
So something that you're concerned about deep inside.
Yes.
You get it off your chest. So
That's
really
right.
the expression kind of relates to the feeling of having something
Yes.
worrying you.
Sort of heavy on your chest.
When you get stressed, you have this very tight, very uncomfortable feeling in your chest. So to get it off your chest, I think it refers to the feeling of getting rid of the stress and the worry. I think so.
Exactly.
We had a slight problem earlier, so we are going to overrun. There are 2 parts to today's live stream because we had a slight problem in the first hour. So we have 20 minutes of the first hour and, as you can see, 1 hour and 40 minutes of the second hour. So we will carry on a little bit longer. We will have 1 more of Mr. Steve's body part idioms.
Which one should we have? I've got about 5 here.
Go on,
okay,
Mr.
let's
Steve.
go for this one.
Pick a good one.
Keep your chin up. Keep your chin up. You say this to someone in a difficult situation to help them to feel or to be brave. Keep your chin up. For example, I know you're worried about your first day in the new job, but don't worry, it'll be okay. Just keep your chin up. Be brave. Keep your chin up. No matter what's happening, you just carry on. It's just a phrase that you use to people, isn't it, to make them feel better. Keep your chin up, and it just encourages them to be brave.
That's it. Yeah. Persevere. Don't give up. Keep your chin up. Be brave.
Yes.
Face the problem directly. Keep your chin up. Don't become disheartened. Don't lose heart.
That's it.
Keep your chin up. That's what I've done today. I've kept my chin up because we had some technical difficulties earlier. Everything went wrong. Thank you very much once again to British Telecom for disconnecting my live stream earlier. And don't forget, there are 2 parts to today's live stream. In fact, I think people are already watching the first part.
Oh.
Because I'm getting messages now coming through from people watching the first part. So there are 2 parts, and don't forget, later on you will also have captions and subtitles will be available later. And don't forget, you can press this little symbol, this little sign here underneath the video, and that will give you the subtitles if you are watching this on the repeat. Mystery idioms. We're going to give you the answers to the mystery idioms. Mr. Steve is going to hang around like a bad smell.
Thank you.
So here we go. Today's mystery idioms. So here is the first one, and now we will reveal the answer. Chain reaction is the answer to that one. So now you can see that the chain is reacting. So that is the picture, and the phrase is chain reaction. The meaning: one event that leads to a sequence of other events taking place. the product of one reaction leads to others taking place. There is a chain reaction. And the second one, I thought this was quite a good one actually. It took me a long time to create this. So here is the second mystery idiom, and the answer is coming right now. Yes. Make a pig's ear. Make a pig's ear. The meaning: to do a very bad job of something, to make or produce something in a careless way, is to mess something up. You make a pig's ear of something. So there they are, today's mystery idiom answers, and that is just about all we have time for. It is now coming up to 4:10. We have had a slight problem today with the stream. We had a slight interruption, didn't we, Steve?
We did. I wasn't here at the time, but yes, you came running out, all out of sorts.
I was out of sorts. I was panicking slightly. I was a bit worried. In fact, I thought Steve had done something to disconnect me.
And I said to you, keep your chin up. It'll all be all right. You're not in over your head.
What does that mean?
In over your head, that means you take on a task that you can't handle. But you handled it beautifully, Mr. Duncan. In over your head. I've been asked to do a presentation at work. Oh, but I'm in over my head. Oh, it's too difficult. I can't do it.
So something that you are incapable of doing, or something that is out of your realm,
out of your depth,
your ability.
Your ability. You might be able to do it once you get more training, but at the moment you're a bit in over your head. But Mr. Duncan is not in over his head when it comes to sorting out technical difficulties.
I thought I handled the problem very well. And by the way, your mother is learning how to use an iPad. Is that true?
I'm not going to comment on that.
But it's true though, isn't it?
She's got an iPad.
You can say if it's true or not.
Let's put it this way. Somebody bought her an iPad for Christmas. It wasn't me. She's got it in her house. Whether she's using it or not, I don't know. But
now I've heard that your mother sends messages to your sister, so I think maybe your mother is watching it. But sometimes, do you know that your mum watches us on her iPad?
That's why I've got to be careful what we say.
Secretly. So we better be careful what we're saying, just in case Mr. Steve's mother is watching right now. We really better be careful, because
I don't think so.
Because when Steve goes home to see his mum, he will get his hand slapped.
I will get it in the neck.
And maybe even a slapped bottom.
I'll get it in the... No, I'm a bit too old for that.
You get it in the neck.
I'll get it in the neck.
Get it in the neck.
Yes.
That's another expression to do with the body.
It is.
What does it mean?
It means that you'll be punished for saying something bad or doing something bad. I think it mainly refers to somebody giving you a verbal telling off.
Yes, they punish you by shouting at you or by being angry with you.
Yes.
So you receive someone else's anger. You get it in the neck. I like it. So that's it. It's time to go. We are now coming towards the end. We've done a slightly longer version for this part because we had a technical problem earlier.
Compensation.
Everything went wrong. But I must admit, I handled it very well.
You weren't in over your head and you kept your chin up.
I thought I handled the situation very well indeed. So thanks for watching. We will be here next week. We're back next week. Hopefully there won't be any problems with the internet. Thank you very much for your lovely comments. Let's have a quick look at the live chat before we disappear. Thank you very much to Jodao and Winner, Said, Ute, Belarusia, and also Julie, Saika, Aredas, Olga, thank you very much for your lovely, lovely messages. Thank you very much to Grammar Nazi. Is that really your name?
Really?
Really? Okay then.
Grammar or grandma?
No, Grammar.
Oh, Grammar Nazi. Oh, I like that. Yes, that means you're being very strict about your English and your grammar. That's quite a good name.
I think we'll move on from that one. Jamelia is going now. Christina and also Luciano, thank you very much for watching us today.
Bye-bye.
It's been a very interesting 2 hours, not least of all because the internet was cut off. What are you doing?
Put my hoodie on. There we go.
Wow, Mr. Steve. You look like a Jedi Knight.
Is this my lightsaber?
I'm not sure. What was that? Was that your impression of a lightsaber?
Oh no! I don't know. I'm not very good at impressions.
We are going now. See you next week. And of
Bye-bye.
course... Sorry? When I finish, you can say goodbye. And of course...
I'm going to get it in the neck afterwards from Mr. Duncan.
You certainly will. I will see you next week. Thanks for watching. Thank you very much for watching. Thanks for bearing with me as well, because we did have some problems, some technical problems. I will see you next week. It's time to go. Time to say goodbye. Thanks, Steve.
Thank you, Mr. Duncan.
See you next week.
Bye.
That's Mr. Steve. He has gone. He has left the building already. He's just climbed out of the window. No, you're not. Mr. Steve said, I'm still here, but he isn't because I've turned his microphone off. See you soon. Thank you very much for watching. And of course, you know what's coming next. Until next week, yes, I will be back next Sunday from 2 p.m. UK time. You know what's coming next. Of course you do. Ta-ta for now.